was that the Tampa Bay Rays Montreal rumor split season. That idea apparently has been squashed, and that will not be happening. The Rays will now have to explore full-time in Tampa. I'm pretty sure their stadium lease is through 2027, I believe. I might be incorrect on that, but I'm pretty sure that's the date. So what are your thoughts on the whole, could a split season work? Could the Tampa Bay Rays stuck in Tampa? What's that situation, I guess?
Yeah, look, let's be honest. The split season sister city plan was not feasible. It seemed like the Rays were the last people on earth to know that it wasn't feasible. It got a lot of mocking, and I understand why, because it sounded so silly. But come on, let's not pretend that you wouldn't have wanted to see that. It would have been hilarious. It would have been absurd, and it's a terrible idea objectively. I don't care that Stuart Sternberg, the Rays owner, is out there saying, well, this is the future of professional sports. Maybe I'll be proven wrong, but Mr. Sternberg, I don't see it personally. It would have been a wild idea, but it's not happening. So they have to move on. And yeah, look, they're on record of saying just a few months ago that they do not consider the Tampa Bay area to be feasible for a full-time team. Now, maybe they were just saying that in order to generate support for their sister city plan. Now that that is deteriorated, they don't really have many other options, right? They have two choices. Well, there's three choices. Choice one, and the most sort of likely choice, is that they finally figure out a way to build a stadium in Tampa and try to make it work in Tampa. Look, I am very familiar with the Tampa Bay area. My wife, she grew up in Tampa. Much of her family still lives in Tampa. I spend a lot of time in Tampa. The Rays don't play in Tampa. The Rays play in St. Petersburg, in the middle of nowhere, in a horribly located stadium. Now, am I saying that a baseball stadium built in a good location in Tampa would work? I don't know. I don't know if it would work. It's impossible for me to know. But what I do know is that Tampa has supported a hockey team incredibly well, right? Both on the ice and in the community. So if you could support hockey in Tampa, why not baseball? I think it's a valid point to be made. So that's their first choice. They have to figure out a way to get it done. He could relocate the team after 2027 when their lease to Tropicana Field expires. There's no possible way they're going to go back to Tropicana Field. That ship has sailed. It's been a complete disaster. Or he could sell the team. And Stuart Sternberg says he's not interested in selling the team. Who knows what would happen if that were to change, if someone were to make him an offer, and if he were to sell the team, then it becomes, is someone selling the team to, is someone buying the team to move the team? Is someone buying a team to keep it in Tampa? Those are the choices. Major League Baseball, the other 29 owners, they don't want the Rays to move. They want the Rays to stay in Tampa. The reason for that is that if the Rays move, you are taking a city off the board that could be used as potential expansion. And this same logic applies to the Oakland A's. We know they're flirting with Las Vegas if their stadium situation in Oakland doesn't work out. The owners don't want the A's to move to Las Vegas. The owners want the A's to stay in Oakland so they could charge some new owner $1 zillion in expansion fee to move to start a team in Las Vegas in the future, because we know that baseball wants to expand to 32 teams. Rob Manfred has said that publicly many times. Once the Oakland and Tampa Bay situations work out, the goal is to move to 32 teams. Well, guess what? Las Vegas is a great option for an expansion team. Nashville, Tennessee, or Montreal is a great option for an expansion team. So if Tampa Bay were to go to one of those places, you're taking it off the board for some very wealthy person to spend $2 billion on an expansion team that gets dispersed to the other owners, which is why I think ultimately they're going to try to make it work in Tampa. Hopefully they can. I believe the city of Tampa has, come up with some creative proposals to try to help finance a stadium. So we'll see what happens, because it really is a shame that a team that's been as successful on the field as the Rays has been as much of a disaster off the field. And I hope that it works out, because I think it's a great community. And I do think under the right circumstance, it's conceivable that they could support a baseball team full-time.
So in theory, could we see an expansion during the current player owner negotiations and see that potential move from 30 teams to 32 teams?
No,
Any
No,
possible guesses to any expansion cities?
yeah, that's not happening anytime soon. They want it to happen, but it will not. Nothing's going to happen with expansion until after Tampa Bay and Oakland situations have been worked out, which means either they build new stadiums in those markets or they move. That is going to be when you'll see baseball expand or look to expand. That's something Rob Manfred has said for a few years, that no expansion will be on the table until after the Rays and A's are sort of settled, either with new stadiums or have relocated. Now, Las Vegas is the number one expansion market for baseball. That's undoubtedly true. There's a football team there now. There's a hockey team there now. Every sport wants to be in Las Vegas. Every sport is getting into gambling more and more. I would be absolutely stunned if there is no baseball team in Las Vegas in the next 10 years. I'd be absolutely shocked, or 15 years, whatever it is. Another market, if I had to pick the other market for an expansion team, it's Nashville, Tennessee. Everyone likes to say Montreal. I think Nashville's a better choice for baseball. I think it's more likely. I think they want to expand their map in the southeastern United States, right? Baseball is the only major sport that has no team in North Carolina and no team in Tennessee. Baseball has a big hole on its map between Washington and Atlanta, which means a place like Nashville makes a lot of sense. We'll see, but this is still relatively far in the future.